Welcome to the Building Stronger Agents podcast, where we dive in to see what makes the top agents, teams, and brokers thrive. Today, we're interviewing one of my friends, Amy Hose. Amy is a top agent in a town in Ohio called Medina, and she dominates that town. And I'm excited to have her on the podcast. Thanks for being here, Amy.
Thank you for having me, Will.
Oh, you're welcome. So before we get started, tell us about yourself. Like, you've been in the business since 2007, like right before the housing crash. And I know you're not a bragger, so I'll brag for you. You've got a small team of 8 doing about 42 million in sales, which is amazing. Tell us what got you into real estate.
So we owned rental properties before we actually owned our very first home. And
that's funny.
We had little babies, and real estate just seemed to be the next, it just seemed to be the next step. I was a young mom, we were young parents, and, I wanted a career. College didn't seem to be the right avenue for me. So
right.
It just felt right.
Oh, good for you. Well, how long were you a solo agent, or did you have a team right away?
I was a solo agent for about 4 years, and then my volume I had more coming in than I knew what to do with. And at the time, I had just gotten started. I would say about a year and a half in, I actually started working for Legacy Homes of Medina. So,
all right, yeah, good builder.
Yeah, so I represented John. But then, the residential, started really picking up. And right. So I had to kind of venture out and start doing, the residential and focusing more on that than the new construction. So I've gotten to experience a lot of really cool things. I've gotten to a lot of knowledge from working in new construction and working with, residential.
Did you set out to start a team, or you just had to bring other people in because you were having business that you couldn't service? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I just had too much coming in, and I couldn't do it all. I was, like I said, I was a young mom. So not only did I have my family, but then I also had, all these calls coming in, and there's just one of me. So, and at the time, right. There was only one other team in the Howard Hanna office that I was out of. So forming a team was kind of scary because I didn't know what I was doing. And so, my manager helped me at the time, and we just kind of figured it out. I mean, we're still learning, but it's one of those things where it was just kind of, it made the most sense. So.
Right. Now, where was all this business coming from? Just because people knew you, or were you buying leads back then?
We didn't buy leads, but it was a lot of, meeting people, doing the parade of homes. It was just, I did open houses. I mean, that's honestly how I started meeting people. I was doing open houses, and, but then we got into Zillow, and at the time, Zillow was brand spanking new. So
oh yeah,
I had 100% of Zillow in Medina.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a big deal back then.
Yeah.
I got on the Zillow wagon in 2010. They started in 2009, I think, here.
Yeah. So
you got a ton of business from that.
Yes. We took it and that's how I got to be, so overwhelmed with with calls and people, it was just too much. So.
Right. So looking back, when you've got eight people now, and you mentioned you've got somebody that just took their test. Is that right?
Yep. She just
brand new
yesterday.
Well, that's exciting. So looking back, are there any things that you would have done differently? Like, growing a team and dealing with people is tough, but like, is there anything that if you had a friend of yours that was a solo agent and they wanted to start a team, and they were just hanging out with you, and you just casually gave them some direction, what do you think you'd tell them?
Interview them very, very well. Get to know them, and be particular about who you want on your team, who you think that would work, amazingly side by side. I mean, I can't stress that enough. The importance of work ethic. You know, you've got to find people who want to work. I've had my fair share of ups and downs. You know, I think that's one of the biggest thing is, you know, they may look good on paper, but you really need to dive in and really get to know them because, yeah.
And they all tell you that everyone I've never had. Now, my team now is amazing. I've got 4 women. They're amazing. I've got no duds. Everyone's amazing. But I've had 3 guys over the years. I had 1 woman years ago who was a dud, but I had 3 guys. They all come in. They're like tenants. Every tenant says they're going to be the best tenant ever, even if they're the one that gets kicked out 2 months later. They all started off saying they were amazing and they'll be amazing. Every guy, he's like, oh, I want to make $300,000 a year. I actually had a guy that told me he wanted to make $300,000 a year. He sold no homes. He actually sold no homes in 6 months. I had another guy that went an entire year without selling a home. He had another job, but he actually went a whole year. And I called him up ahead of time. I'm like, I really don't want you to ever have to look in the mirror and say, I got a real estate license and went a whole year. What can we do? I mean, I said, I'm not worried about me, but I'd hate to have you have to look at yourself and say that. It's so, to your point, it's really hard, isn't it? To be able to getting right out of the gate.
I will say I have learned an awful lot in the last year. And I know that's crazy because I've been doing this for 15 years, but I have learned so much. And I've also learned to have a voice. As before, I was always afraid of hurting someone's feelings. And I was afraid of, telling them, hey, I really need you to answer the phone. When I have agents calling me and telling me that one of my agents on my team isn't getting back to them after them trying numerous times, it's not okay. It's just not. And so I've learned in this past year to be more vocal because we're really easygoing. You know, my husband.
Oh, I know you're one of the most easygoing, considering your success. Your personality in terms of being easygoing and nice does not match up with the amount of production you do. You're so nice.
I appreciate you saying that. And
well, it's true. I know you work at it.
I want to be. I want to be a good person and I want to be nice. And I don't want people to think the biggest thing is I want people to look at me as their team member. I don't want to be a boss per se. Like I want everybody to be able to relate to me. And I don't want to be known as, a mean person. I'm just not.
Oh, I hear you.
But when I have agents calling me saying, hey, I can't get a hold of your agent and I've contacted them numerous times, that's not okay. So that's when I'm like, all right, what's going on?
So over the last year, then, what are you, other than having a voice and setting expectations, what do you find yourself doing differently? What can other agents learn from you?
Being brutally honest. And I am a brutally honest person. I will just tell you.
I know you are. Yeah, you're not passive aggressive.
No, I'm not. So I have become much better at saying, hey, listen, this is what I expect. And we don't expect much. We just want people to answer the phones. We want competent agents who are hungry and want to work because that's me. That's who I am. That's what I do. Right. And I know I'm not going to find, me again, right? But
they won't want to work for you. The ones that are you don't want to work for you.
Right.
You want team players. You don't want someone who's just going to be out, a solo player because they're never going to fit on your team. But you also have to set expectations, set standards, explain the culture and what and everyone has to work within that.
Yes. And I'm still learning. Every day is a learning process because there are things, like I said, we've grown so much and I've had my ups and downs with them and I've seen them come and go. But, I have my core agents and they're really good, so.
Exactly. And you want to treat them well.
Yep. And I'm working on building a team, just like you explained, team players. No negative energy. I don't like negative energy. You know, we
No,
want
I hear you.
positive people that talk with a smile. You know, it's not rocket science. It's just you
No,
have
it
to
isn't.
want it.
Well, and you have to teach it back here, because by the time they get to the front line and they're dealing with home buyers and sellers, it's about relationships. Everything, you can't get to your business level just on Zillow leads. It's about building relationships, right? And having cheerleaders and core advocates out there. That's how you get the business year. You couldn't spend enough money to generate the number of deals that you guys do in a year if you weren't building relationships.
Exactly. And people are more than just a transaction. And I feel like a lot of agents lose that, you know. You want to be friends with your clients. You want to have a good relationship. And I think that's really important. Are you going to get along with everyone? No. You know, as much as I would love to, there are just some people who, you know, they don't work well with, you know, any of us. It's just the nature of the beast. But we try.
Yeah, and you just get them through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you guys doing, or what are you doing as a leader? What are you to stay in touch with your past people and your clients? What are you doing to nurture those relationships over time so that they come back to you?
Well, so I keep in touch with a lot of people just through text messaging or a phone call here or there. I think the biggest thing is a lot of people will just close it and then move on. But I have a lot of my clients who become my friends. You know, I'll just check in and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know I was thinking about you. Just silly things like that. And it might not mean much to us, but it means a lot to them, you know?
Because they're not expecting it. Like, when was the last time your accountant called you just to check in to see how you were doing?
Kurt deals with the accountant.
No, but my point is that we're the realtor, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what other professional in your life actually checks in? But we do it, so it must be a big deal.
Nobody does it. A lot of the relationships are one-sided.
No, I know that. So are your team agents staying in touch with their people? I mean, do you have, you mentioned before, you're trying to get some processes in place to make sure that everyone's staying in touch with everyone, that they all know that that's where you stand, like it's about relationships?
I'm constantly.
Your agents? Yeah,
I'm constantly on top of them. Not in a rude or mean way by any means, but I'm constantly saying, hey guys, you need, you know, make sure you're doing this, make sure you're doing that. You know, there are certain expectations that, you know, we have in place, and some of them, you know, is just from in the past learning how to get through, you know, and what works and what doesn't. And like I said, we're constantly learning, but I think the biggest thing is just making sure that people are staying in touch with those people that aren't, you know, in the now. You know, you have some agents who want always easy. Well, guess what? It's real estate. It's not easy, you know, and those are the ones who really struggle, I think, because a lot of these are nurturing. A lot of them are, you know, you have to stay in front of them because there are so many flipping agents, you know, so you have to stay in front of these people or they'll just move on to the next. You really need to set yourself apart from the others. And I think
there's so many distractions now.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so easy to get forgotten. Well, you obviously, just based on your numbers, you do a good job of that. Now, as this market shifts, as a team leader, where's your head in terms of, do you plan on doing anything different, or to get listings, or is there anything that you're doing different? What do you see happening in the marketplace?
I started seeing a shift really in June. And I know that, you know, we saw it coming, you know, but I really saw a change in June. And, you know, I've seen appraisal issues. I've seen buyers backing out of houses because they thought they overpaid. You know, there's a lot of stuff. The only thing I can say is that we need to be educating our clients, you know, and that's what I'm doing. And I would hope that my girls are doing the same. But I think the biggest thing is education. You have got to be educating these people because of the shift and how volatile this market is.
So you're saying setting expectations early on, because there's certain things that we know that they're going to run into, such as a parent telling them they paid too much, or getting to the home inspection and they bring dad along and he freaks them out, or they go to work after they paid 10,000 over list or 20,000 over list and someone is a Debbie Downer. We have to let them know. I mean, I let them know about that. Like, I kind of put that into the conversation before they even write the offer. I set them up for buyer's remorse, for all of it.
I do the same exact thing. The very first time I talk to them, if it's a buyer, I'm telling them, hey, listen, here's what's going on. And if it's a seller, I'm doing the same, because I can't stress how important it is to be educating these people, because you still have some people who are in the 2021 mindset, and we're not there anymore. It's done.
No.
That year is done. So just to give you an example, I went to a home a couple of weeks ago, and, against my better judgment, I did it backwards. But they had to get their house on the market in order to write an offer on another home. Okay. And so I had a jam-packed full day, but I went over there first thing in the morning and I took pictures of the home. I went back and I ran this, the sale comps. Like I said, that's not normally how I do things, but
right.
I needed to do it for this particular situation. I go back and I run the comps and I say, okay, here's the thing. This is my gut feeling, because that's what I do. I say, okay, this is my gut feeling. I obviously will list it for whatever you're comfortable with, but this is what the market's showing me. This is what I'm seeing. And these people wanted $100,000 more for their home.
Whoa.
than what that area. There was nothing even remotely close. And I went back 6 months and I'm like, I just, there's no way. And so, but I was very kind. I said, I will list it whatever you're comfortable with. But ultimately I didn't get the listing because I angered them, because I told them the truth and I showed them what the market's bringing, and they didn't want to hear it. So
that's happened to me lately. But I've found, and I tell my team agents, the problem is if you have to drag a client into the relationship, or if you overprice a listing knowingly just to appease them, the amount of energy and anxiety that they could like cost you the summer or the fall. Like, because we have long relationships. You list the house, you could be stuck with them for 90 days or 120 days or whatever. And then they get angry, or if they're a problem client, or if they show me early on that they're just gonna be really hard to manage, and I have to watch what I say every time I have to be concerned about their feelings all the way through. I've just found that it's better to step away from those people, because to get one extra client, but they can ruin 2 months of your life. They could be like the whole time it's pending and they're just demanding and they're yelling or they're upset and they're trying to trip you up. People like that, I just stay away from anymore. So if I won't knowingly, and it's hard, but I won't knowingly list a house too much overpriced, because I know that when it doesn't go their way, they're going to then look back and say I was a professional, but they didn't want to listen to me as a professional at the beginning.
Right. Well, I always tell them, we'll try it for a week. If you're not getting the activity
you
like, then we need to adjust the price. And 9 times out of 10, they'll just say, you know what, we don't want to mess with that. And so they'll do it, but not these people. Nope.
But I look at people like that. It's very easy for us to become complacent. So I look at problem clients, or people that I have trouble communicating with. I look at those as a gift, like to help me sharpen my tools. I try not to look at them as negative. I try to go, okay, I'm going to do my very best to make them happy. big question. Obviously, you were at your previous company. Were you there the whole time?
So my first year of being licensed, I started out with one company, and I was kind of being held back. I knew what I wanted to do and I knew I could do it, but my manager just would not let me. So she made me work all these open houses with these other agents. And I just kept saying, can I please just do it on my own? Can I please just do it on my own? It was like 4 months went by. I picked up a client on my very first open house. I listed their house the next month, or maybe like a couple weeks later. And so from May to July, I sold 4 homes.
Was that your first year?
Yes. And
that's legit.
Then I didn't really love it there. I didn't feel like it was a good fit, but how the whole thing came about was I didn't know any better. And I saw an ad in the newspaper saying, "Are you interested in a career in real estate?" Well, yes, I am. Right. I didn't realize you should go and interview other brokerages. So that was one thing I regret not doing, but I ended up going over to Realty One. Okay. And so Realty One, it was great for the month and a half I was there or something, because then we were bought. And so
by Howard Hanna.
Then yes. And so then I was with Howard Hanna for almost 14 years.
Right. So an agent who's as productive as you are at a company that like Howard Hanna, they're a great traditional real estate brokerage. What opened your eyes to, and I know you don't like change. We've talked about that before. Yeah. What opened your eyes to eXp Realty?
Well, honestly, the retirement plan was very appealing because, let's be honest, I don't want to be doing this forever. I don't. And, there comes a certain point in your life where you're like, all right, things need to change. I need to look at the long term instead of the daily grind. And I think that was one of the contributing factors. Another one was more money, obviously. That's a motivation. And
I was blown away by the amount of money that you said you saved. Didn't you say it was like $100,000 a year?
Over $100,000 a year is, so what we did last year, I could have made over $100,000 more if I would have been under eXp last year.
Doing the same amount of business.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot. Well, it's because they're cloud-based. I mean, you already know. I mean, so the revenue share portion, being able to build an organization. Well, plus you're already building stock. I bet you've got, your stock account's building up as well, I'm sure.
Yes.
And the stock's real low right now, so you want to get as much as you can.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good. We're sure glad to have you. Now, this is my 10th month, I think. 11th. It'll be a year in October. So yeah, we've been, I could never imagine myself going back to another brokerage. We had our own company for 21 years, but I'm so excited being here and being able to connect with people like you. I couldn't do that before,
Yeah.
It's so hard at other companies. No one wants to, they talk about collaboration and culture, but everyone's a competitor. And I've found that at eXp, I don't want to make this about eXp, but the fact of the matter is at eXp, because it's one company and everyone's an owner in the company because the stock that they get, it makes everyone want to be part of something positive. Like you said before, you don't want to be the very successful female agent that everyone hates because you're rude to them. Well, at eXp, it seems like the agents their slogan's one big fire because it's one company across the country. Everyone that I've run into anyway, they seem to want to contribute on that level. Like they like collaborating. They want to be kind of like you and I want to be the nice, productive agents. The other agents at eXp seem to want to help others as well. Just because it's a fast-paced, positive environment, and everyone seems to want to contribute. That's what I found anyway. Are you finding that to be the case?
I absolutely do. I can't even tell you the amount of EXP agents that reached out to me. It was honestly, the whole process it was wonderful. I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have your bumps, and I cried a lot, because
Right.
it's scary, but
Right.
the welcome that we received, it's amazing. And the help that we receive through, EXP, and I know you don't want this to be about EXP, but I can't tell you how wonderful it has been in just the short, 4 months I've been over. We made the move March 24th. So it's been,
Seems like light years ago,
it
but
really
you've
does.
already capped. You're almost icon. It's
Yes.
like,
Yes. I'm
then you
very
get all that stock
happy.
back. It's
Yeah.
like,
And I've always ran my business kind of like how I'm doing now. I have never had an office at a brokerage, at a brick and mortar. I've never,
oh,
ever.
hmm
And I was always told that I needed one, and I always fought against it. I don't need that. I work out of my car or my home office or wherever.
your
I'm
car.
certainly not a traditional type agent, but
Right.
it's always worked for me. It's how I have always operated, and
hmm
I wouldn't trade it for anything.
That's good to hear. What's the feedback you're getting from your agents
They're
now that they've made the move?
very, very happy. They like that we have help at our fingertips anytime, it's needed. We can just, and I'll tell you, the monthly, the morning meetings, they're wonderful. They really are. I
Do you
unfortunately
go to the Wednesday meetings, or do your team agents go to the Wednesday meetings?
They do. I have a couple, but honestly, Will, I book myself up, and
Yeah.
so I know that when things slow down a little bit, but right now it's grabbing as much as I can whenever I can.
Oh,
And
sure.
you know what I mean? And I
But
like
your agents are going to
Mhm.
the meetings?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Yeah, mine are too. We have our own meeting on Wednesdays, but a lot of times they'll go to the broker one. Have you been in the EXP world yourself?
Yes.
What do you think of it?
I think it's
Coming from a traditional company like Howard Hanna, and now you've been thrown into the deep end of a technology-based company. What's your personal take on EXP world?
it was a bit overwhelming at first because I didn't know the first thing about how to do anything, but
Right.
you
Yeah,
can
it's the
go
same way.
boating and you can kick a ball, but,
Right.
but no, I really love that you can go in and look at the training that they have. You can go into different buildings and look at what they have to offer. I love that part of it because if there is something, we can just pop in there and, go where we need to go
Right.
or find the answers that we're looking for.
I'm a very cynical person, and when I first heard of it, I'm like, it's just a video game. It's a gimmick, but it's actually, for me, like if you call a credit card company or the IRS or your doctor's office and you wait and you wait and you wait, at EXP World, you can go, I found anyway, you can go into accounting. There's someone like right there. You can get your question answered in a minute. You can go into onboarding and agent support. You can go into the broker office and they have office hours. That part for me is way better than I thought it would be, because you can now, it's like a Zoom call, but on demand. It's like an on-demand Zoom call. You go in there, you see I see the cartoon of you, but we still have the same conversation through the microphone, and you get your questions answered right away.
Right.
So it's like, it's not a gimmick. It's actually like the fastest customer service you can get in any other aspect of your life. At least that's the way I feel. That's what's happened.
That's exactly what I was trying to convey. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, excellent. So your team agents they're doing well. I know obviously you guys haven't missed a beat. You're selling a bunch of houses, but they've been happy with the training, and they feel like coming over, it's been a support for them, or it's been a good move for them.
Yes.
Cool. That's good to hear. I figured that was the case. but I don't like taking it for granted. Anything you'd want done differently on that end? Any issues at all that you're aware of?
No, I don't really think so. I mean, to date, I think we've sold about 62 homes. We put 62 homes under contract, I believe, from the time we
Since
moved.
March?
Yes.
Holy, good for you.
Yes. There are just so many freaking cool tools that they have for us. And I'm excited to start, utilizing those things because we didn't have that.
These companies say we're technology based. You may have the best technology this afternoon, and somebody else tomorrow might overtake you.
Yeah.
So if you rest your whole hat on technology, then, and it's not about, like I found with EXP that and again, for me, I'm a very cynical person. I'm 53 years old, and most people fall flat. Most people promise you and underdeliver. It's a shame, but that's the way it is in life. People say they're going to do a great job, then they don't. But I found that they are so agent centric, like from the brokers to the customer service people. It's like they treat you like a customer. They're so happy to help. It's almost like one of these movies you watch where everyone's a nice robot. It's like they're so freaking happy to help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They never get upset. They respond to emails quickly. Like when you transfer, and they're handling like 300 agents in Ohio or transferring right now or something like that. But they're still like really nice when you email them. It's almost weird. It's like, I don't know how they can keep it up. I don't know how they keep it up.
I don't know,
but they are.
Is amazing. Like it truly is amazing.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Well, listen, it's been a half an hour. You've given us a lot of information, building your team, relationships. I appreciate you coming on here today. Well, everyone, thank you for listening to Building Stronger Agents podcast. Please give us a good review. It helps us get pushed out to more agents, and we'll continue bringing you interviews with amazing agents like Amy Hose in Medina, Ohio.